Hey everyone, it is Allie from 1 Month 2 Cameras, and if you are wondering, yes, I am wearing a full body tracksuit in a plush, delicious velvet, because why not? It is that time of year. I'm sipping my hot water and being a mom. So today we are gonna go on a trip to Mexico City, a place I visited back in 2009 when I went to see a friend of mine who had just moved there. I canvassed the city with 2 cameras, my Olympus XA film camera as well as my OM1, not the modern Micro Four Thirds OM1 from OM Systems, but the original film OG 70s SLR camera. Fantastic camera. The cameras that I brought with me this time around were plentiful. I did not go short-handed. I did want to have a film camera or 2 just to commemorate the last time I had been there, so I brought along a Rollei XF, which was loaned to me by the lovely Victoria of Tiny Camera Store, linked down below, as well as my Fuji Natura S Japanese camera, which pretty under the radar, pretty spectacular. Digicam wise, I brought my Olympus C7000 as well as my Panasonic GM1 camera with a 14mm and 20mm, which are equivalent to 28 and 40mm on 35. And I think that's it. Oh, and the DxO One, of course. Here are some adventures as we go through the city of Mexico City for 4 days. Oh my gosh. Too much mezcal. Because we had such limited time, I did something I've never done before, which was hire a guide, which was absolutely amazing. We crammed as much as we possibly could into 24 hours, and we started off in Sochimilco. Sochimilco is one of the oldest neighborhoods of Mexico City. They are known for many things, among them growing all of these incredible marigolds that you see for Dia de los Muertos. It was such a cool thing to go just to a local flower market and explore all of these marigolds that they were bringing out to all the various posts in Mexico City for that very, very established tradition and celebration. After the flower markets, we continued on to the very famous Sochimilco canals. If you can believe it, Mexico City is built all on a lake bed. It was a giant, giant lake with essentially 2 islands on it, which grew. The history of Mexico City is mind-blowing. We went to the canals that still exist down in Xochimilco, took the boats, and it's a very touristic thing to do, but it's also a very local thing to do. A lot of locals do still go do that with their families for, you know, a weekend sort of celebration, be it something more casual or as much as like a quinceañera. But it was fun. It's not something that I did in 2009 because I thought it would be a little bit too touristy, and it definitely is touristy, but it's still a unique experience that you kind of only experience there. I can't maybe say I would highly recommend it, but if you have the time, it's definitely worth checking out.
Now, as I was telling you, this is the rectory. This is where we have the archives and files of the students. But that's the most, it's the outstanding building that we have.
When was this built?
During the 50s, I think.
No trip to Mexico City would be complete without a stopover in Teotihuacán, which is where Frida Kahlo was born and raised. She has her blue house there, which she actually lived in at the end of her life as well, so it's kind of like a full circle story there. It is very hard to get tickets to the Blue House. We were not able to get tickets to the house, but we were able to get tickets to Diego and Frida's studio. It was actually Diego's studio, but he and Frida lived there at one point, and being in this space, you can just see why she would not have liked it there, which apparently she did not. It was very hard to get around. It was, you know, a small space with a lot of stairs, and she had a lot of back issues. But the house is really wonderful in an architectural sense. Very, very modern. The neighbor across the street created a rude statue to sort of make a statement towards Diego and Frida about how much they disliked their home.
Like, how much can you really cook here? So tiny, too.
Third day we reserved to go to some place that I visited in 2009, which made such a huge and lasting impact on me, which was to visit the city of Teotihuacán. It is an ancient city about an hour outside of Mexico City. It, at its height, had about 25,000 inhabitants from what we can tell. There are so many conflicting sort of pieces of information around the history of this place because it is so old. Back when I visited in 2009, you could actually climb all of the pyramids. I mean, it was really wild, and I remember climbing them. There was no real security or safety measures in place. There was like a straggling little rope that you could hold on to climb the Pyramid of the Sun, which is the largest of the pyramids on the site, and anyone could do it. I saw little kids doing it, and obviously adults, and it was real sort of vertigo going down because the steps are so shallow, but it was remarkable, and just standing at the top of that pyramid and looking around was really, really breathtaking. So I was excited to take my husband there, but since COVID, they have shut down the pyramids, and they apparently don't plan to reopen them for any time in the near future, which was a real shame, but it's still an incredible place to visit. There are certain structures you can still climb, some of the smaller pyramids and whatnot. And it was just as magical this time as the first. I mean, the first, my breath was completely taken away. Talk about connecting with history. It was so wild to experience that, and it was just something I was really excited to share with my husband. Mexico City is just one of those places I don't think I'll ever get sick of. It's really a place that resonates with me. There's a lot of sincerity and joy and dancing and mezcal. And those were the cameras that I shot. I loved each of them. Do I regret bringing any of them? I really don't. I used all of them. It seems a little gratuitous. It's a lot of cameras, but you know, when you're excited about a trip and you want to capture everything with everything, that's what you do. I'm actually going on a trip tomorrow and I don't yet know what I'm gonna bring, and I will be thinking about that tonight, and I'm sure you'll hear about it soon enough on the channel. Until then, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.